Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 345. It is Friday. Thank God. It was a long week after spending 5 days around nothing but baseball cards, sports memorabilia. 5 days is a long work week, right? So back at it today. Um, I am winnowing away. Is that a term? Winnowing away at my eBay shipments. I've got some trade packages that I'll get out tomorrow, and then I still have not really unpacked from the National as far as my cards and stuff go. Most of them are counted. I still the last 5,000 ish Cubs. I still need to get those counted and added to the tally. So I'll do that this weekend. But like a lot of the cards, I listed a few cards the other night. Um, but I have some penny sleeving to do on some dime cards. So I'll probably be showing off some of the other cards that I got at the National that I didn't already tweet pictures of. What's up, Zach? Good morning. So today I wrote a blog. You may have read it, 1millioncubs.com. My top 5 takeaways from the National. So this is basically the video version of my top 5 takeaways. I can elaborate more. Isn't that backwards? Aren't you supposed to elaborate more with the written word? But writing it's very time consuming, but I can spit it out here on video really quickly. I do have another blog in the works, how you can attend the National for free. I have almost finished that up. Hopefully I'll get that published. We'll see, maybe tonight. But absolutely this weekend I'll get how to attend the National for free posted on 1millioncubs.com. So my top 5 takeaways from the National, and number 1, and I tweeted this out a couple days ago, was the energy. There was so much positive energy at the National. I mean, you almost have to be a curmudgeon to not at least feel some excitement around the hobby. And I know I've kind of been like very, I don't want to say pessimistic around the hobby boom. I've been very cautious, a little skeptical how long this will last. But being at the National around fellow collectors and friends in the hobby, it was extremely positive. And another thing, and I posted some articles from 30 years ago. The 1991 National has been like the benchmark of nationals, and that was like that was the top. This is what we strive for the National, with just the buzz, the people, and everything. And I think 2021 actually surpassed that and obviously I wasn't there at the 91 National, but a lot of hobby veterans that have been to, more than a dozen Nationals who were at the 91 National. I won't name names because I don't want to speak out of turn or misquote them. But a lot of people that I talked to that were at the 1991 National said 2021, this past week, surpassed that 91 National. What came out of the 91 National? There was a lot of crime and mainly theft. There was some big time thefts that occurred at the 1991 National. At 2021, there's only one instance of an arrest that I recall, which is actually lower. I mean, usually every National, there's a story about, oh, this guy got escorted out for selling fake autographs, or the FBI arrested this guy, or, I mean, and that's like in 2017 or 2019, pre-hobby boom. Now it's like exploded, and we had a fraction of those crimes occur at the National from what I'm aware of. The only one, there was one theft in the video made the rounds on social media, and a guy was stealing, I don't know how much, but it looked like he was stealing just kind of like bargain, almost bargain box, or maybe the $10-$20 cards that are just kind of laying out. So that was the only like theft crime that I had heard about or saw on social media. So that was in itself, I'm shocked at that, just based on um, the amount of people that were there, and just how big the hobby has become. Um, yeah, there was theft. Yeah, so thefts are actually pretty rampant at card shows. Dallas, last month's Dallas show, there was the Luca, and I don't know if it's been confirmed what actual Luca card was stolen. There various story. I've seen a couple different stories on what exactly it was, but so only one theft that was it, at least reported. Actually, I did see somebody else. I can't remember. I think it was a vendor, or not a vendor, but maybe a sponsor had some cards stolen. I can't remember, but you're going to have that. But as far as what was reported, far less than what I had, anticipated. And I talked about this. The second takeaway I had from the National was it was crowded, obviously, but it wasn't overcrowded. In how you know, how I kind of feel. I wouldn't say I'm claustrophobic, but I don't like big crowds, and I will get a little anxious in large crowds. I just I hate large crowds, and I don't know if that's just you know hereditary, or if it's I grew up in a super small town, and so I didn't grow up around big crowds. I didn't grow up in a city. I maybe went to Chicago once a year, so big crowds just weren't my thing. I'd never experienced large crowds growing up. So maybe that's why I get anxious and nervous in a big crowd setting. But it wasn't crazy packed. It seemed like it was well spread out. Now, there were some instances, there were some tables where there was, a big crowd, and it could be because there was, a filming of something going on and people were just wanting to check it out, or there was a big transaction, because obviously there was a lot of big transactions passing hands. So it could get, a little claustrophobic in certain booths just because of those things. What's up, Jenny? Good morning. So, while it was crowded, and some of the pictures, pictures don't really do the setting justice, because you can snap a picture, and if you're not there, it looks menacing. That's too crowded. I would never go. But that's really not the case, because you have the ability to move around. A still picture doesn't really paint a true setting of the actual crowd. And yes, there were instances where it could get crowded, but I didn't personally experience overcrowding issues. It was, there were times where you want to get down a hall, but if you just practice a little patience, I was able to get through. So that was something that I was surprised that I was expecting. Maybe I am pessimistic. I was expecting more theft. I was expecting larger, intimidating crowds, and I didn't experience the intimidating large overcrowding, and we didn't experience a plethora of theft. So maybe I am a bit pessimistic. Slabs were everywhere. Now, one of the things that I was shopping for was pre-war Cubs. And my plan, I have about 25 to 35 pre-war Cubs cards that I will be submitting to SGC. I really love the way the slabs look, especially with pre-war and vintage. So I'm going to do a big submission with some of my Cubs collection. So I was looking just to kind of add to that submission. I did pick up the Joe Tinker T205. Showed this off the other day. So I'm gonna put this into the submission to SGC, and I was looking for some others. Like there's really no such thing right now anymore as a bargain box for tobacco cards, but at one time there was, where you could pick up a T206 for 20 bucks. Those days are over. And pretty much every vintage, and I say I don't like buying pre-war or pre-war tobacco cards raw. I just don't like doing it. But if it's from a trusted vendor or seller, then I will buy a raw card. And basically, like 90% of the pre-war was slabbed, at least from my experience and what I witnessed. It seemed like everything had a slab, and obviously that was gold in those parts. Everything was slabbed. Slabs are everywhere. I know that junk slab era is a term that's been tossed around. I kind of I was among the crowd that thought slabs are just going to be, commonplace. I think the prices of slabs, there's going to be, it's supply and demand. There's going to be more supply of slabs moving forward, but I think that's going to be common currency in the hobby, which is hard for us to imagine being in the hobby for 30 plus years, and growing up with, three brands in the 80s. But I really honestly think it's going to be harder to find, especially when you get into modern or higher end, even $100 cards. It's find those in raw form because everybody's going to get them slabbed. And I mean, I'm even, I want my vintage slabbed, from a certain date on. I don't want my 1964 top slabbed, but well, unless it's Ernie Banks. But anything pre-war, I do want slabbed. I think slabs are the future of the hobby, where it's going to be more difficult, say maybe even 10 years, but I was now slabs, I really do think slabs are the future. Yes, some of this, you see the numbers on Luka Doncic, Ronald Acuna, Juan Soto rookies, but it's going to be hard to move those in raw form, I think, where, in the past and even kind of now, you can flip those raw pretty easily, but I don't think people want, because people want the young generation, the kids these days, they want slabs. And, some don't want the hassle of, I want the slab now. I don't want to buy a raw copy and submit it and go through that headache of the grading process. Another thing, in speaking of, I didn't have this on the agenda, but one thing that annoyed me was comps on raw cards based on a PSA 10 or 9. This is a raw card. It's not slabbed. It's not graded. If you think this card is worth X amount, if you say it's a PSA 9 sold for $1,000, well, guess what? This isn't a PSA 9. If you go through the grading process, submit it, and it comes back a PSA 9, you can get PSA 9 price. But it's raw, so you're going to get raw prices. A raw card is going to be comp to a raw card. I don't care if you've been doing it for 50 years and you think, yes, this would gem or this would get a PSA 9. It's not. It's a raw card. So that's just my soapbox for the moment. Zach says, crowds are a young person's game. I believe as we age, crowds are less appetizing. I think you're right. I've always hated crowds. I've always hated crowds, even when I was younger. I'm probably backwards on that. I've always hated crowds, and I still hate crowds, but I think I'm a little better in crowds now as I approach 40 than I was when I approached 30. Not much. I still hate crowds, but it's, and I guess it kind of depends on if I'm a few beers in, I don't mind it as much as if I'm, sober and hungry. If I'm hangry in a crowd, then I hate crowds. What's up, Herman? Good morning. So that was my takeaway. Slabs everywhere. Something for everyone. So if you're not in the slab game, there was raw cards. There was even a nickel box. There was a booth that had nickel boxes. I didn't hit it up. It was actually my local card shop here in Madison. So I didn't hit that up because I can just drive over there, and I actually haven't been in there in a while. So there was nickel boxes, there was dime boxes, there was quarter boxes, there were dollar boxes, there were like $5 to $10 boxes. There was something for everyone. DJ Ski bought a $1.1 million Mike Trout 1-of-1, I think it was. You know, there were hundreds. There were hundreds flying. There were big time sales. So I know that people like to flex the big deals, and look at this deal, 1.1 million, or here somebody slapped down 50K for a Jordan rookie. There was something for everyone. I mean, I hung out the booth that I love. My favorite booth is the Singles Club dollar boxes, and I pulled a Ohtani Heritage Rookie Performers dollar and sold it on eBay like a day later, $16. So there's something for everyone. There's high end. There's grails. I saw multiple 1952 Topps complete sets with the Mantle rookie. I think I saw 3 of them. Amazing. So there was something for everyone. There were complete 52 Topps sets all the way down to your nickel box commons. So if you think you've been priced out of the hobby because you're seeing all these flexes, you're not. There's great deals to be had. You just have to look for them, find the booths, and maybe do some digging at those bargain bins. Friendships are the best, and that's kind of where I ended the blog post at 1millioncubs.com. I met some awesome people. I met basically everybody from Hobby Hotline that I had not. John Newman from Sports Nation podcast, bumped into him a couple times. We had a great conversation. Rich Klein and I spent some time. Uncle Rich and I spent some time in the Singles Club dollar boxes. We were actually standing right next to each other, and I looked over. I go, I think that's Uncle Rich. Mike Summer and I, we were sitting next to each other, digging through dollar boxes. Jeremy Lee from Sports Cards Live. He was actually at the Golden Dinner on Thursday night, so talked to him for a little bit. Ivan watched the breaks. He's so busy that I probably would not have met him, but he was at the dinner also on Thursday night. And then there's so many people that I'm leaving out, so I apologize. But just so many people you get to meet in person, just awesome. And that's what makes the National. It's the people, just like John says. The hobby is the people, and that couldn't be any more true. It was so great to meet everybody, and going back to the positive energy, and I think somebody tweeted this out. They're like, with all the drama that's on hobby Twitter, I can't believe there was no hobby drama at the National. And it's true. Most of us, 99% of us, are really good people. There's some bad eggs, the scammers, but 99% of the hobby is really good people. And we all have our differences. We all disagree on something within the hobby. But when we come together, and just because there's differences doesn't mean we may have differences on a couple things, but there's 100 things that we agree on, and we all have a passion for the hobby. Zach says, I enjoy Newman. He seems like a really good, genuine dude. He absolutely is. What you see on the podcast, on his podcast, on Hobby Hotline, that's him in person. That's him. Just a great dude. So glad that we were able to meet. And the more I talk about the fun that we had at the National, I keep saying that, I'm not going to Atlantic City in 2022. It's almost like I'm talking, every time I blog or tweet or talk here on the YouTube channel about the National and the fun I had, it's like, I'm gonna go. I've got to go. I've got to go. So we'll see. It's still, we're 11 months away. So 50-50. That's just I'm not gonna commit. But I'm not gonna not commit either. Herman says he's definitely one of the good ones. He's awesome. So Atlantic City 2022, we shall see. 2023, absolutely. It's back in Chicago, so it's easier for me. It's just the flight, and I hate flying. I've flown plenty of times, but I hate it. But equally, I'm impatient. Here's the thing. I'm so impatient that it's like I would rather, as much as I hate flying, I hate sitting in a car for that would probably be 15 hours, I would imagine. And it's like, well, I can hop in, I can drive to the airport, be on a plane, and say 6 hours. But 15 hours in a car, and I'll rather fly. I don't hate flying that much. Zach says differences like a Sox Cubs series starting today. That's right. The only day game, I think. Kyle Hendricks and Lance Lynn. So Sox are probably going to sweep. I've just kind of resigned to the fact that wait till next year, like the good old days of Cubs baseball. Wait till next year. Herman says got an invite to share a room at AC. I may take him up on it. That's awesome. My buddy Dave that him and I share a room at the National last week. He always goes. He's been to every National for like 15 years. So he's going. So I just room with him, but it's just the whole like flying and transportation. But I guess I'll have to find the layout. So we'll see. I'm probably talking myself into it more and more, but I do plan on spring training next year. So we'll see. Planning a potential European vacation in June next year. So if I do the Cubs convention and spring training and 2 weeks in Europe, we'll have to see what my my vacation. I banked up a lot of days off over the last year, so I've got plenty of time right now. But we'll see. And actually, if I keep building on, I'll probably have still enough time with all of that stuff. Oh, and before I go today, I did commit to the Rockford, Illinois card show, which is next Saturday, a week from tomorrow, August 14th. Rockford. It's in a new location. I tweeted out the address last night. It's at Rock Church on Harrison Avenue, 6732 Harrison Avenue in Rockford, Illinois. The Rock Church, 9 to 3 next Saturday. So I will be bringing, I just have 2 tables. Last show I did there, I did 3. So I'm just doing 2 tables. So I may have to stack some of my bargain boxes up, but I'm going to take my quarter boxes and probably my dollar boxes and my junk wax packs. So I'll take those to Rockford next Saturday. And then our show is August 28th, Saturday, August 28th, Sheraton Hotel, Madison, Wisconsin, 9 to 3. Tables are available. Let me know. And then right between those 2 dates, the 21st is the Wisconsin Dells show. That's a big one. I really enjoyed their May show. I think it's even expanded for August. So I may sneak up there, just kind of depending on my schedule. I don't know. I don't know if I can get 4 straight weeks of card shows, if I can handle that. But we'll see. So I have committed to, actually, it's not 4 straight weeks because I'm not doing a show this weekend. So we'll see. So that's what I had for today. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for watching. I will be live tomorrow. Also, I have I'm going to be on a podcast tomorrow, the 1988 Topps podcast. We're going to talk Ty Griffin. I'm excited. Ty Griffin, kind of like the 89 Topps Ty Griffin is what made me fall in love with Cubs baseball cards. So I have kind of a side PC of Ty Griffin. So Gonna talk a little Ty Griffin on the 88 Tops podcast. So that's what I had. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great Friday. I will be back on tomorrow. Weekend schedules kind of wacky. Tomorrow, maybe say 8 a.m. tomorrow for Hobby Evolution. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one. We'll talk tomorrow.